Welcome back to another episode of Don't Look Down on Me, a service industry podcast. Thank you so much to everyone who watched my last video. You are amazing. Today, we have a little Reddit story for you that I'm going to read. I screenshotted it on my tablet, so I'm going to read you guys what this crazy customer did. Okay. Also, if you haven't subscribed, go ahead and do it. Why not? My restaurant has officially met the worst customer we've ever had the pleasure of serving. I am a server assistant at a small locally owned brunch restaurant. Yesterday, my coworkers and myself had one of the most bizarre, unbelievable, honestly feels like a fever dream customer interactions I've experienced in my 4 years of being in the food industry. To start off this experience, this older lady and her husband, guesstimating in their mid to late 60s, came in 45 minutes before we closed. We are only open from 7 to 3. I sat them at a booth, had their server greet them, and then proceeded to help another fellow server with cleaning up his section as he was on the brink of being cut and just had a table with small children, a baby and a 2-year-old. They made a decent-sized mess on and under one of the larger tables. While I was in the midst of cleaning up, the woman I had just sat begins talking to me. "Who was sitting there? Who leaves such a mess? Why are you cleaning it up?" I proceeded to lightly just tell her it was a family with some young kids and that we're used to cleaning messes like this, especially with kids, and I don't mind helping my coworkers as it's part of my job. Just the usual explaining to the customer the obvious before lugging a bus of dishes into the kitchen. A few minutes pass and we all notice that our manager, who was usually up and running around with us to pre-close, was nowhere to be seen BOH. Instead, she was with this lady for 30 minutes. "This is what we have all gathered," the woman had said, from our walking back and forth and from what our manager laughably told us. I'll sum it up into bullet points for you. And she literally did. That's crazy. Okay. First bullet point. It's unacceptable for a mess to happen like that. The mess of some fries and crayons on the floor is a health violation. She would be taking a photo of it and sending it to the health department despite it not being her table. If it weren't for her and the people in our, quote, rich town, the restaurant wouldn't exist and we wouldn't have jobs. The server who took that table was lazy. Mind you, he wasn't even her server. She was talking crap about someone who wasn't even her server. The server was also lazy for asking me to help him. Again, that's my job. She pays a lot of rich people taxes, quote, and expects to be served in a pristine environment. We shouldn't have served the family at the table and refused them service because they are obviously not from our town. This family must have had kids that were, quote, mentally challenged. No one in our town has kids that are mentally challenged because they can all afford to send them to good schools and get properly educated, unlike us. Having mentally challenged people eat in the restaurant is unacceptable because they can make messes like such, which is a health violation. She hopes we get shut down and we all lose our jobs over some fries and crayons on the floor. Her husband just sat there silently the entire time. When I tell y'all that everyone, including my manager, was in the back laughing our asses off at how entitled this lady thought she was. And props to my manager for then letting the servers go home early so they didn't have to deal with that lady any longer. It was also his last day before going back to university and refusing this lady any sort of discount or compensation. Yes. I hope she contacts the health department. They love us and they always pass us with flying colors and eat at our establishment often. Wow. This commenter commented, there has to be a threshold of what we are supposed to tolerate before we blow up on people. I met the end of my fuse about 30 minutes ago and still don't know how to feel about it. Nobody walks into somebody's house and acts that way. So why can that rule not extend to houses of employment? So that's the story that I'm focusing on today. I was shocked. Well, I wasn't shocked, but I was like, this is going to be good for the podcast. So I was reading through Reddit stories and that one just caught my eye because too many rich people, too many people that are not in our tax bracket come into these establishments. I want to know why you are not at your house with your private chef since you're in such a high tax bracket. Where's your private chef, babe? And why are you here with us little people? Why are you here with the peasants? eating at a peasant restaurant when you're so rich. You're so rich. You should have your own restaurant. You should have your own restaurant because you're so rich. The entitlement blows me away because where do these people come from? Like who? I want to know who's I want to talk to your mom. But honestly, some people's children, embarrassing. So as a server, I feel like obviously there's only so much you can do as a server. Like you really just got to shut up and take it sometimes. But for management, I feel like if people cannot come in and act like they deserve respect and decorum and professionalism, we shouldn't have to give them respect, decorum, and professionalism. If you're coming in to the establishment that I work out and you knock the broom out of my hand, pun intended, I'm going to have a problem with it. And I'm not going to sit there and shut up. And we're not going to sit there and just take it. And we're not going to sit there and give discounts because these people are the reason that our jobs suck. And we're not going to look for a new job, okay? We're going to look for better behavior. That's the key. I wish I could tell every customer that. I'm not going to get a new job. You should find better behavior. I want to talk to your mother. I've had plenty of customers who just get upset over the most random, stupid stuff. Like you get them silverware and you live in a state that has hard water. So the silverware has hard water on it, like hard water stains. Who cares? You have silverware in your house right now that has hard water stains on it. But you want to complain about our hard water stains when you and I both know that we have hard water. Why do they complain about that? And you're eating a burger anyway, so what the hell do you need silverware for? I digress. Anyways, as a manager, at what point do you think, if you were a manager, okay, at what point is it okay for the manager to say, listen, we refuse service to you. You're not the kind of person that we want to provide good service to. We don't want you in our establishment. We don't want your money. Your rich money, you can keep that. You can keep that and give it to a private chef so that you don't have to come in here anymore. Because, like, what are you doing? Girl, you're so rich. So what do you guys think? Is this something that people should blow up over? Or is this something that's just like, dude, because sometimes you really have to think like their life has to be miserable. Their life has to be so pathetic and miserable that they have to come into these establishments and make regular people feel miserable. You have to be a pathetic individual, right? I could think of no other reason. These are also the kind of people that raise other people with this kind of entitlement. And then they come into the restaurant too. And it's like just like a cycle of like older generation, the middle generation, and then the youngest generation of pure jerks, pure entitled, higher than your tax bracket people. Go away. Get away from us poor people then if you're so gosh darn rich. Comment what you would do. Comment what you wish you could have done. I'm just kidding. We don't promote violence here all the time. I do feel as though the manager handled it with what you would call aplomb and grace. That was wonderful. Far better person than I, because I would never. I would have already been like, get your shit and get out. Get out right now. Another point I want to talk about is people throw around the mentally challenged verbiage all the time. I don't think that these people have an education. Because if they did, they would know that mentally challenged individuals, it has nothing to do with education. Hello. I guess money can't make you smart, because why would you say that? That's crazy. Like the thing she was saying was crazy. Our town doesn't have mentally challenged people. What? You know everyone in your town? That's crazy. I think you're crazy, lady. I don't know. There's people out there that just have the patience for it. There's people out there that can just deal with it. I personally feel like we're at a new age, a new era, if you will, and we don't have to. Listen to me. We don't have to be disrespected at work. We don't have to be disrespected by customers at work. I don't understand how you having a bad day or maybe a bad life, or I don't know what the situation is, but why do you have to come into my job and make my job harder than it already is? Listen, that happens a lot, and it happens across all kinds of businesses and places. And, I just can't imagine letting my mother or my grandmother or my auntie, like talk to somebody in the service industry like that. To anybody, actually. Don't talk to people like that. I can't imagine my own family or friends talking to an individual like that. I mean, I would stop them if they did. Again, people don't care. They like empathy. And until they can find out a way to have empathy, it's just always going to be like that. And because of that, we will always have content on this channel. Because there is a never-ending sea of horrible customers. We're here to talk crap about crappy customers. That's what we do here at Don't Look Down on Me, a service industry podcast. I hope you guys enjoyed this little quick episode. Please write down in the comments what the heck you would do, because that is crazy. We will catch you in the next episode of Don't Look Down on Me, a service industry podcast. Bye.